At one point, we're going to talk. Hold on.
Welcome to Technicolor Freedom Machine, the primest show out there, at least in the greater Richmond area.
We're the Optimus Prime of television.
Or so he says. I'm Alex, or Amosh if you prefer. This is Goad. Pretty dressed up today. He refuses to tell me why.
Because there is no reason for pleasing. Actually, I wore this suit today to pay an homage to one of public access's heroes, Gorgeous George.
And you understand that we are descended from a long dynasty that is more or less descended from this horrible lover boy, if you will. Gorgeous George, then comes Redbeard, Glorious Redbeard, who is my arch nemesis.
Who we have information about. You know, he's moving back to Philadelphia.
Yeah, I've heard. Now, if you don't know who Redbeard is, he was the host of the rather famous show that sort of died in the mud this season, but last season was quite a hit, more or less. And that was the time in which he became my arch nemesis. He was running a show called Wednesday Night Karate Explosion. And I wanted to be on that show quite badly. And then I realized, you know, I'm more of a renegade than that. So I defected before I could even have a chance to be on the show.
Very difficult to do.
And then I formed my own show, as you see now, my brainchild, the Technicolor Freedom Machine.
Do you think he's turning into Gorgeous George? I seriously think this Mike fella is turning into Gorgeous George, and I'll tell you why. Both of them like to vacation in Las Vegas.
Redbeard in Las Vegas?
Yeah, almost every year he goes to Las Vegas. True story. I'm just waiting for him to come back with a stripper named Sue.
Exactly. If you don't know that story, look it up on Wikipedia.
Look it up on anything. But
now, so what I was saying is that from Gorgeous George, we have fathered Wednesday Night Karate Explosion. And from Wednesday Night Karate Explosion, in a sense, we have fathered Technicolor Freedom Machine. So Technicolor Freedom Machine is at once sort of the child that is, in a sense, descended from the fatherland, say Russia, in a sense, which of course I'm talking about here, Wednesday Night Karate Explosion. But we defected, like Solzhenitsyn, if you know that, one day in the life of somebody, Desonovich, Ivan Desinovich, whatever. I can't speak Russian, I apologize, Maria. But listen, we defected and now we are our own glorious writers. And we intend eventually to leave the dynasty. We'll always be traced back to it, but we will create something of our own. So please support us, watch this show every week, and write about us online. Spread the word about this show. We want to become an international phenomenon.
But not like Gorgeous George. That's the bad kind of press. They say that there's no such thing as bad press. Gorgeous George found it. But a lot of fans of the show are wondering, where's that quiet girl and that quiet guy? Well,
Dero, the one who sat on the right?
Yeah, Danny Rosenberg.
No, Rosen, not
the Iranian spy. He seriously is in China. We're not making this up. We are making the Iranian part up, though.
He went to China for 6 weeks. That was the young man that you saw on our right last week if you tuned in. The somewhat quiet girl but rather charismatic one who was sitting to my left last week is Jessica Lee Bowers, whom I call Chanson de Jess, a very lovely woman, long history between her and me. She couldn't make it today because of she had to work, etc. However, she did wish her best for the show, and in remembrance of her grandeur, this show is dedicated to her. She is a lovely, lovely woman, and I mean that in a way that you can understand. Okay, so let's get down to business once again. Today, we're going to talk about quite a few subjects, but we want to focus on particularly abortion. What do you think about abortion?
Well, I'm sure right now you're thinking, wait, two guys, one's dressed in a suit, one's Antonio Banderas. What do they know about abortion?
Well, you might not know it, but maybe quite a bit. So we'd like to take your calls in about probably 15 minutes or so and see what you think about it. Now, if you don't feel comfortable talking about abortion, we'd still ask you to try to posit something. But if you can't, we're also talking about human sexuality today. So if you have comments about homosexuality, both female and male, bisexuality, heterosexuality, transgenderism, transsexuality, anything that you'd like to speak about, please bring it up, because it's a very important issue, obviously, around the world, but it's becoming a more and more important issue in Richmond also, because there are many misconceptions, I think, amongst some of the amongst the populace in this city, considering what people think about, people of various sexualities. It's a very, very odd phenomenon, honestly.
And especially if you're on the school board and there's a website about you. He knows what I'm talking about.
God.
There was a school board member who posted himself on a dating site, a gay dating site, and that was political suicide for him. So, any politicians listening, stay clear of the internet.
Although, of course, that's your only outlet, aside from the TV, which, as you know, is mildly going downhill, except for in the Midwest, where it's becoming slowly a god. Okay, well, okay, so another thing that we find very interesting is the seeming augmentation of certain sexual demeanors when a person is under the influence of alcohol and perhaps certain drugs, because we found people who would very adamantly claim that they're pure straight-on heterosexuals have certain homosexual tendencies in drunkenness. Very interesting. So if you have a comment about this, we'd like to hear it.
Also, meth is the gay drug. If you're homophobic, don't take meth. In fact, just don't take meth in the first place.
Yeah, that's a good idea, honestly. Because the same thing that you'd be putting into your body one way is going to come out another. What's that supposed to mean? Although I do have a song, actually, that I wrote about crystal meth, although I've never taken it, and I wouldn't want to. It is the Midwestern drug. It's probably actually the drug that would be taken by a Midwesterner who's worshiping the TV that I talked about.
I have a friend from Alabama. She says you can't buy Tylenol without an ID anymore. Meth is that bad.
That's ridiculous. That's not, there's no way that's true.
Have you been to Alabama?
Oh, in Alabama.
Because if you haven't been in Alabama, you can't prove it.
No, I've been to Alabama before, but I've never tried to buy Tylenol in Alabama. Why would I waste my life like that? I mean, I've been through Montgomery. Pretty nice place.
I've never been to there.
If you're a sheep herder, but actually, I don't think there are any sheep. There are no shepherds there, but got some nice bayous. I like bayous. All right. Well, so as I said, our issues for today are abortion, human sexuality, and the various tendencies of human sexuality. So anything that you'd like to bring up about those issues would be quite welcomed.
Also, if you have any comments for me, not Alex, just me, I have an email. It's askgoad@hotmail.com. I spell my name Goad. Feel free to send me any messages. Also, we have a MySpace account.
Yes, we do.
We don't know the URL for that, so you got to find us.
Technicolor Freedom Machine, look under that. Although there are misspellings, we need to fix that. Goad.
It's spelled correct.
No, correctly. Look, yeah, there are some grammatical mistakes on there, and it's not bad, we just have to take care of it.
I spelled Technicolor Freedom Machine correct. And I made a pretty sweet graphic. Look it up and see that sweet graphic.
Yeah, it's okay. So if you want to contact me, Alex, or Amosh, as I said, Sagdaliger, Stickman, Grigri, Amosh, Achin, Hanecholi, feel free. I can be contacted so controversially at 703-380-3356. Yes, I gave my personal phone number out on television.
Again?
Again. And you must understand, how many terrible calls did I get last semester? Innumerable. I was literally sexually violated via telephone in the night, probably at least 3 times a week. Now, I don't know whom it was by, but I would get these terribly vicious calls when I was in my slumber, and I would awake next to my beautiful one, and she'd be like, who's calling you at this time? And I thought, maybe it's a hospital, maybe there's been a death. Oh God, this is horrible. It's an unlisted phone number, so I would pick it up. Hello? Yeah, you look like you've been shot in the face by like a machine gun. and then I hang up. So very interesting. I asked who they are, but they wouldn't tell me. It doesn't really matter because it's all very literary. So if you could come up with something better than that, I would be incredibly pleased because to be honest, I went back to sleep nightmaring about how incredibly trite and unconventionally boring that make-believe, what is the word I'm looking for here? Disparagement was. It's pathetic. So come up with something good, something that you would see in like Milton or Wordsworth. Give me something that I can chew on, child. Because I can certainly do it back. That's without a doubt. So let's take some calls.
Let's put up that number if you can up in there. Also want to give thanks for the people working in the booth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mad props.
Yes.
Let's give it my hand.
Thank you very much for helping us today because we have a kind of a shortage of staff.
Shortage of everything except charisma and the truth.
And that's all you need in America. But see, this is the thing. I was having some trouble. I thought that maybe this show is going to be pathetic, but this is the thing. It's not, and let me tell you why.
Because pathetic is subjective.
I said let me tell you why.
Oh, okay.
Okay. See, I was thinking in America, in many Western countries, Western Occidental countries, we have certain liberties. I mean, of course, that's not completely true. Obviously, there's a lot of censorship in this country, et cetera, more than we would know, or even I would know, even though I might be some sort of archly liberal insaniteer. But my point is that we still have an ability to get word out in a way that may not be so possible in certain places simply because of the mobility of technology. So if you have any questions about what I mean by that, give a call, but I'll let it sit at that. But I was thinking, what would it be like to have a public access show in Nigeria, Mexico, some other country which is often considered to be third world or peripheral, which culturally not so. These countries are amazing by culture. It's just that, as we know, there are certain discrepancies between so-called Western countries or the first world, second world, and third world. So I realized that if you can make a show at all in a third world country and get word out to the people, inspire them, give them the news, then you're doing a grand service not only to them, to the local community, but to the world and perhaps the universe at large. And if we're doing the same thing, even on a local level in America, we might be, in a way, comparable to that small, humble, modest Nigerian studio or Mexican studio in the third world. We are, in fact, doing a third world service in the first world. That is Technicolor Freedom Machine. What the hell? Put that away, man.
Sorry, it's hard.
That's a blatant disrespect of what I was just speaking about. In fact, what third world studio would have access to an incredibly fun, entertaining Game Boy? All right, that was a Game Boy, right?
That was a Nintendo DS.
DS.
The next generation of portable video games. But you were boring me in all fairness.
I'm sure I was, but these are some things that you simply can't ignore. These are important
I
issues.
can't ignore you, but I can't ignore the true issues out there.
Such as, are you stalling?
Yeah, I'm stalling. Why aren't you calling us?
We're very proud that we once had 99 calls, as I was told, in our first season. Oh, man, I must seem like an old man who's drunk on booze and looking back on his life. Huh?
That's because we were before Wednesday Night Karate Explosion.
That's not true.
That was true.
No. It's because they were after us, okay?
we were a nice power 3-hour block.
Well, I mean, the truth is that Karate Explosion was basically a show for your behind, and we were a show for your B-mind. So, I mean, you understand what I'm saying about that. That's the lamest thing I've ever said, but it rings true, and that's what we're all about, truth, once again.
I don't know, you've said some pretty lame things.
Yeah, but I've also said some very cool things.
Name one.
Like, something about, what did I say, third world? We're doing a third world service in the first world. Which, take that for what it means. That means something mystical. Okay, but let's bring out some subjects about abortion.
All right.
Do you think that abortion, in this day and age, this workaday, dog-eat-dog world, is abortion justified legally, religiously, philosophically? Human sexuality. Is homosexuality, bisexuality, heterosexuality, is there a clear difference between the three? And to what categories does transgenderism fall, transsexuality, transvestitism, all of these sorts of lifestyles as they're known, or generally just ways of living more correctly, just as any way of living is a way of living. What kind of category do these fall into when it comes to human sexuality? And even abortion itself, how does that reflect on human sexuality? So give us a call. We'd like to see what you have to say on these issues, because without the word of the public, there is no word from the wise.
Where do you come up with these things?
I don't know. I mean, it's just, toilet humor for sages.
I don't know. Here, we finally got a caller. Hello, caller. You're on some crazy show. Hey, I know this guy. Hey, welcome back.
Technicolor.
Yeah, how y'all doing?
Hi, what's up?
Sexuality, terrorism, and gayism is not right.
It's not right?
It's not right.
What do you have against gayism?
Gayism, two men sleeping with each other. That's not right. It's not politically correct. And we have to put a stop to it.
What about?
Give us 3 reasons why.
But before you do that, think about 2 women sleeping together.
Yeah. Is 2 women sleeping together okay or not?
Well, I don't want to think about that. I have to go down.
The famous double standard. Well, okay, let's give us 3 reasons why. Two.
It's in the Bible that Adam and Eve, right? Number 2.
Not Adam and Steve.
I'm not going to say Adam and Steve. Early.
All right, on to number. Okay, so you're saying
that in the animal kingdom. Did you not see that in the animal kingdom?
Wait. Is this reason 2?
The penguin kingdom.
Wait.
Look it up.
Wait. Is this reason 2?
It's reason 2.
All right. So let's do a recap here.
Reason 3 is this: if you keep having that, which I hate for my white folks to do that.
Wait, if you can't what?
You diminish our race, and we can't replenish, and we need to replenish because everybody else is taking over.
Okay, so to put a recap, he's saying the Bible says it's not right in his claim. 2, wait, what was the second reason?
The second reason is it doesn't occur in the animal kingdom.
It doesn't occur in the
According to
animal
him.
kingdom. Now, that's obviously very controversial. And 3, reproductive issues. Okay,
All right.
Let's take this call. Thank you for calling Technicolor Freedom Machine.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, doing the public access thing.
Yeah, it really is draining. Really draining.
Wow, how gay is that?
I know. Well, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. What do you? So, have you been watching the show up to now?
I'm currently watching at the moment.
Well, that's good too.
As all our viewers are.
Yeah, pretty much. We get about 1 second per television. But okay, so go on.
Huh?
Yeah. So did you have anything you wanted to say? Any comments?
Yeah. How do you guys feel about legalizing marijuana?
Well, we did talk about that last week. You remember?
Vaguely.
Vaguely?
Vaguely.
I was joking the whole episode, and he was very serious for it.
What are your stands, man?
For it? I didn't say I was for it. I'm not saying anything on the air. I'm not going to say whether I'm for it or against it.
Fine, stay on your fence.
All I'm saying is that legalization of marijuana, we'll see. Let's give it a time span of 60 years. It may or may not be legalized. If not, move to Jamaica.
So, do you guys smoke marijuana?
I don't. I can't speak for this guy right here. Just look at these eyes.
Don't touch me.
Get that hair.
Well, yeah, but don't judge a person based on how they appear, of course. You know the great...
I didn't say anything negative. That's jumping to...
That's true. That was jumping to a conclusion. You're right. Well, do you think that marijuana should be legalized?
I think it should be up for anyone's decision. Like, if you want to smoke it, you should be able to.
Sure,
but
it should
Yeah.
be your decision?
It's your body. Do whatever you want with it.
I guess that some of the issues that supposedly authorities have with it is, driving under the influence. I mean, because obviously certain alterations in perception and perceptivity can occur under the influence of THC and other chemicals found in marijuana.
I find that I get really paranoid and I pay more attention.
Well, that sometimes is the case, but at times it's also it's actually a sort of miscomprehension or falsely thinking that we are more aware of what's going on around us, where in fact we're more aware of our awareness, but not the actual things that are going on within that awareness. But that itself is controversial as well. But do you have anything to say about sexuality, our current subject for today, abortion or human sexuality?
Do you think that after you smoke a doobie, you'd be unfortunate enough to not be able to catch a boner or anything?
Catch a boner?
Yes, sir.
Well, some people say that after smoking marijuana, their sex drives become, well, no, not sex drives, but sex itself becomes more pleasurable.
I find that to be true.
You find that to be true? Well, there are some studies that I believe say that THC is responsible for this. Now, the actual chemical basis is something that I have to further look into. But if you have anything to bring up about that, we'll be willing to talk about it next week, perhaps, as a side commentary. So if you do some research for us, we'd be happy to review it.
Because he's not going to research.
I will I research every show, come on.
So what are you guys' major?
My major is philosophy.
Philosophy?
And I'm in the evil devil department, but most people call it mass comm. But yeah, sorry, it's not that interesting.
No, it really is very interesting. It's just that, we have to use these names as fronts. The truth is that anyone who's in university and who's as weird as we are, we just use names as majors. The truth is that our majors are something far deeper and mystical than a person would ever know. So if you want to talk to me about it, I'll meet you in a back alley and I'll tell you what my major is. It's a deep concentration.
The same back alley where we used to perform abortions.
What?
Like fillet each other or something back there? I mean,
Oh, gosh. Creating controversy through comedy. Chappelle, you are my patron saint. All right. Do we have any other comments?
No,
Well, it was great to have you, caller. Thank you for calling Technicolor Freedom Machine. We want some more callers because, namely, what I think I would like to focus on, because it doesn't seem like anybody has much to say about sexuality nor abortion in general, because how much has been said about it already in this country? Probably a lot. And even the world, of course. We would like to focus on specifically perhaps the much more minor issue of the way that tendencies of human sexuality change under the influence of alcohol specifically. But I mean, if you have a comment about other drugs and sexuality, feel free to say that too.
I mean, alcohol likes to promote sexuality not by its actual product, but by its commercials. Now, if you just look at it,
but it's not alcohol itself that's making the commercials. It's the
yeah,
advertising.
It's the same people who make the alcohol.
You can't ferment a commercial, man.
I'm over your head.
Over my head?
Over, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's true, because truth is, it's over your head. Reason being, because I'm not going to say anything about sexuality right now, but there's more than one head to get over. So,
And speaking about head, if you'd like to talk about that as well on our program.
if you do it, let's talk about it in tongues, just to keep it on the
And speaking about
on the
tongue,
down low. Keep it on the down low. Okay, all right. So I have observed that when people are drunk, oftentimes persons who previously would very adamantly claim that they're heterosexuals start to demonstrate homosexual or bisexual tendencies when drunk. And even in the extreme, like I said, people who would previously claim to be straight-on heterosexuals in drunkenness become exclusively gay.
and a lot of people say, head has no face. I want you to think about that. Because it doesn't make any sense.
You're giving comic relief a bad name. You're making comic relief like a third world antacid. The kind of thing that local third world children are like throwing to the birds, and birds are exploding in the background.
Oh, birds.
Tum, 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 tum. Okay, So,
Let's take this caller. Maybe,
Yeah, let's
maybe
take-
he has some information. Let's see who it is.
Yeah.
It's an unknown name.
Technicolor Freedom Machine.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up? How are you?
I'm doing all right. What's the topic today?
What's that?
What are we talking about today?
Talking about human sexuality,
Okay.
abortion, but specifically we're talking about how do you think that the influence of alcohol and perhaps other drugs can affect people's sexuality?
Well, alcohol helps people get pregnant all the time. I know that worked for a lot of girls in my high school.
So you think that the use of alcohol facilitated
Oh, I thought
Conception.
you just get pregnant from alcohol. I didn't know you had to. I thought it was just how it worked. Oh, is that not how it works?
Well, I mean, I know that people hop on each other, but it's not the hops that are doing it.
No, I think he has a point here. People get pregnant from alcohol. It's not that people get pregnant from people. this guy's right on the mark.
Absolutely.
Get there.
Absolutely. Well, if anybody really does think this, the truth is that it's been more or less scientifically proven, whatever that means, that the sperm and the egg are intimately involved in reproduction in the human species.
That's not what it says in the Bible.
I don't think the Bible specifies, man. Plus, which one are you talking about? You talking about
Caller, do you read the Bible?
Yes, I do read the Bible.
Yeah, that thing is always right 100% of the time. Don't question it, right?
Well, this is the thing. We have the New Testament, and then we also have Tanakh, which is the Jewish Bible, as it were. And there's been a significant amount of translation and redaction in the New Testament, as we've seen, because if you look at the translation, there are a few discrepancies. So if you want to talk about that, we'll be willing to talk about this too, but we might want to save that for next episode.
I'm telling you, the Bible does not say anything about how people conceive other people. It only
No, it may encode. It may encode.
if you can decode the Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code has nothing to do maybe with the New Testament, but I'm talking about Tanakh, which obviously precedes the New Testament.
I don't know. Let's see what this caller has to say about the Da Vinci Code.
And for those of you who don't know what Tanakh is, the Tanakh, as I said, is a Jewish Bible. It's more or less the Old Testament. However, the Old Testament is the Christian version of Tanakh.
All right, caller, you're back on the air.
I got some good information about the Da Vinci Code.
Oh, the Da Vinci Code. Go right ahead.
Let's hear it.
Are you boycotting it too?
What's that?
Are you boycotting the Da Vinci Code as well?
I wouldn't say I'm boycotting it, but I just know that if you go to see it, if you're a Catholic, you're supporting something that helps people who don't have good knowledge of Catholicism maybe doubt their faith and believe something that that's wrong. Because the Da Vinci Code, I mean, it's been proven that this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, it is a fictional book.
Right, exactly.
Well, yes.
Like, I'm confident with my faith, so if I go see it, I know it wouldn't be a problem. And I know a lot of people would that don't understand the Bible, and so you just can't support that.
Well, that's true. There has been a lot of popular critique in the media, I think, concerning the Da Vinci Code as to its unreliability. That's certainly true. But so what are you saying specifically, though?
I guess we lost him.
I guess we lost him.
But anyway, yeah, Da Vinci Code, just as fictional as Harry Potter, and I don't think those two go together. So why don't you boycott that? Him and his prisoner from Azkaban. You know that prisoner was abused in Abu Ghraib.
I don't think that there's a connection, Goat. I'm sorry to break it to you, but unfortunately, there's a big distance between those two prison camps.
Azkaban.
Although there has been some popular talk about there being a tunnel connecting the two underground. Ooh. Okay, that's a lie. Blatant lie.
Actually, it's true. The prisoner from Abu Ghraib just wound up in Azkaban, and they're like, oh.
We wonder where all her ideas came from. What's that author's name again?
J.R. Rowling?
Rowling.
J.K. Rowling?
J.K. Rowling, yeah.
Yeah.
Her ideas actually came from an underground cave from Abu Ghraib. Interesting.
Actually, she was a homeless
Or is
woman
it
who wrote all her ideas on a napkin.
Raib, I don't know. What's that?
She was homeless?
Yeah. That's the
Everybody knows that story.
That's the popular story.
Actually, I told the last person who didn't know it yesterday, so now everybody knows that.
I mean, they may have been crack rolling papers. I don't know. That's mean. I shouldn't say that about Harry Potter.
Because this woman can buy and sell you several times over?
No, namely because she's British, obviously. Okay. But back to the point, we want to talk about, once again, human sexuality and abortion. So there is one argument that if you abort someone, you give the chance of deleting someone from a possible existence who might have changed the world for the better. But then again, you might have perhaps unwittingly identified and aborted a possible Adolf Hitler, or
the next Jesus.
or Pol Pot, or any number of evil dictators who have negatively affected the world in most popular views. So, committed abominations. So it really becomes a question of, who are we aborting? If there's any reason to give credence unto the idea that a fetus is a possible being, that is a possible personality that will develop, or is it a personality as it were as it is at that moment? But then there are other arguments that say it doesn't matter either way, because as long as we don't know, then it won't hurt us. Ignorance is bliss. So whatever you have to say about abortion, we like to hear, because I have not heard a single argument yet which is enough to genuinely convince me either way.
Alex, let me ask you a question about abortion. Where do you stand?
Where do I stand?
Yeah.
Probably on two legs.
Oh, okay. Here, let's see what this person has to say. It's a new person. Hello, caller. You're on Technicolor
Freedom Machine.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I was calling in. I had a question about, I go to VCU, and a lot of times I feel uncomfortable just because I'm gay, and me and my boyfriend will walk around, and I'm not totally comfortable showing public showing of affection. How do you guys feel about that? What do you think is the culture there, the PDA culture at VCU for homosexuals?
Wait, what is public, what is PDA?
Public displays of affection.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, there is a large percentage of homosexuals at VCU.
That's true.
And a lot of people, I don't think there's that many homophobics at VCU.
Well, I think that there are quite a few popular homophobes. They're not anything to be worried about, I wouldn't say. Now, what I would say...
it's just how comfortable you are with your sexuality to display it in public is the question.
Yeah, honestly, if you yourself feel comfortable doing it, then you should. Obviously, the fact that you're calling us and telling us that it concerns you shows that you're not completely confident about showing it publicly. However, if you feel like that's what you want to do, then you should kind of get into it slowly, because you have just as much a right to do it as a heterosexual couple does. So,
do you have any recommendations on how to work on that, like an exercise, like something practical I could plan on doing?
Well, honestly, yes. Do you ever frequent, gay bars or things like that?
No, I haven't done that.
Well, maybe you should try going with your partner to a gay bar and sort of practice within that more comfortable atmosphere. How you might go into certain displays of affection publicly in that atmosphere, and then gradually take it out to the outside world. Now, I wouldn't. This is not me suggesting that you go and flaunt it, because that unfortunately can bring violent consequences, which I don't agree with, but unfortunately is a very possible reality. So I wouldn't suggest that you go on a street corner and dance around, which I wouldn't tell a heterosexual person to do that either. But it's really important for people to be honest with themselves and be honest with the public, but not endanger yourself if you don't absolutely have to.
So how do I make it so that I'm not feeling like I'm flaunting it versus just doing what comes natural?
Probably the best idea for you is to hang out in front of groups of friends that are couples, and just slowly work your way up until you're making out in the middle of the street.
Well, honestly. And it's just, I guess part of what it comes down to is to know what company you're in, because, it can be a very acceptable practice.
Oh, the Cabell Library.
What's that?
The Cabell Library.
The library?
Yeah, Cabell.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, I mean, I suppose that you could get away with it. It's just that I don't know how liberal the VCU administration is. I mean, I think that they're probably.
Well, the other day there was this Saudi Arabian prince, and these guys were dancing around with swords and stuff. And I feel like, I mean, I should represent my culture and my society, and I feel like I should be able to make out with guys in front of the Cabell Library if I want, if they could dance around with.
Okay, well, insofar as you're telling me the truth, I would say so too. However, I would say it is important to recognize that while there obviously is sometimes a distinct culture associated with various representatives of certain types of human sexuality is human sexuality. It's not the same thing as culture necessarily, because you can be part of a culture and still have any number of different types of sexualities, because you can be part of, say, certain, like maybe be a Bedouin but you can be gay, bisexual.
What if the gay and lesbian organizations organize the gathering in the commons, like reserve space?
What are they culturally?
Like, I mean, I know that the gay and lesbian organizations at ECU
they're representing
celebration of gay and lesbian PDA.
Well, what it is culturally speaking, they are representatives of Western culture's understandings and the reflection of those understandings within the West. Because I think that the views on sexuality are sometimes different in other cultures, so they have to be understood as being intimately connected to the culture of the West, unless they're making a very, very conscious and true effort to try to understand sexuality from other cultures' points of view. Because, yeah, that's something that's very important here, to remember that sexuality should not be confused with culture. Sexuality is part of culture, but it is not culture itself. It could be part of your body's culture, the culture of your soul, but socially, it is sexuality, and it's, like I said, part of culture, but it does not comprise culture.
All right, well, I appreciate that, guys. I gotta go. My Coke deal's here.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, if you really do practice homosexuality, go ahead and do it. It's good. It's fine with me, honestly. And I think that sexuality is something to be cultivated. Just as I'm saying, I'm all for diversity, but just be careful, because
You know he's not listening. His Coke dealer's here.
well, anybody who may be listening, it's just that there have been some terrible hate crimes in the past which are completely indismissible. So I just don't want to encourage those sorts of acts either way. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, especially if you've ever been to the website, what is it called? GodHatesFags.com. You're going to get really mad like I do. And you'd be like, who let these people have their own website?
Probably, well, they would say God, but it obviously is not God. You know what it probably was?
It's ICANN.
You know who it probably was? Probably Boy George. Reason being is because Boy George wants to start a culture club too. And the only way it's going to work is if he has some adversity. Okay, that's not true at all. I'm really sorry. Boy George is an incredible character.
Incredible.
In person, yeah.
Well, let's see what this caller has to say.
Kudos to Culture Club, yeah.
Hello, caller.
How you doing?
Technicolor.
Oh, just dandy. And yourself?
Peachy King.
What?
Who is this?
Peachy King?
Chi-Chi King?
Peachy King.
He said Peachy Keen. Don't you hear this guy?
What is that? What did he say?
It means he's doing just alrighty. Alrighty brew even.
Peachy
I am
King?
dandy.
Okay. Are you Canadian?
Am I what?
Canadian?
Am I what?
Canadian.
Canadian? No.
Why do you say that with disdain?
Say what?
With disdain. Why do you say that with disdain?
Because he wants nothing to do with Avril Lavigne. All right. Well, what would you like to comment about?
What's today's topic?
Sexuality and abortion.
Yes.
Oh, they kind of go hand in hand, huh?
Yeah. Can't have one without the other.
Yeah, I guess. How do you guys feel about abortion?
All right. What?
How do you feel about abortion?
Well, the question is, how do you feel about it?
I think it's pro-choice.
You think?
Hey.
All right, let me ask you.
No, wait, before you start commenting, I know you're going to be all dickish about it and say that I'm an asshole.
No. Go ahead.
Okay, I think that if the situation comes down to it where it's either the kid goes into, like, poverty for the rest of his life or not, I say not. But if you use it as a method of birth control, then that's wrong.
Why don't you just say it like this? People suck, there's too many of them, and they're easier to kill when they're fetuses.
Exactly.
Exactly. Thank you, caller. Let's take the
You do realize now that we're going to have hundreds of people hating us for these kinds of wanton
Well,
comments?
let's see what this person has to say. Hello, caller.
I'm so lazy.
All right, we enjoy your feedback.
Feedback in caps. All right, next caller. Technicolor Freedom Machine, you're on the air. Now you're not on the air.
Wow, that was. What was that guy before Sam? I didn't understand a word he said.
No. But as I said, feedback in caps. I like that.
I don't know. No, he's calling back. He's calling back.
Let's hear it. What?
Hello?
Yeah, hello, Technicolor Freedom Machine. What's
Hey,
up?
did you guys know masturbation is a sin?
By whose account?
By Christianity?
By Christianity. What about Islam?
I don't know. I just know it's a moral sin.
Judaism?
I don't know.
Hinduism?
You know why it's
Baha'i-
you know why
Baha'i.
it's a mortal sin? Because it's a sin to waste. And when you masturbate, all you're doing is wasting your semen. That's why.
You guys think about that.
Can we please be honest here? Okay, why is it a sin? Let's hear why you have to say it. Why? Why?
Because the whole point of your penis is to stick it in a vagina and get a baby. You're not supposed to have.
Wait,
the whole point you're supposed to do it.
where is the evidence for that?
The Bible?
Okay, well, okay.
Yeah, I already told you the Bible's always right, Alex.
No, let's say that the Bible didn't exist or that you didn't know about it. Would the Bible still be the proof for that? Or do you have to know about the existence of the Bible to know it as proof?
Well, I don't understand what you mean.
Well, I'm saying if you were born into the world, okay, and you didn't know that there was such thing as God, would God still exist?
Oh, I mean, I think that all cultures that believe in some sort of supreme being is just natural.
What about agnostics? That's a culture.
Well, what I want to know, there's a tribe. I always forget this. I don't understand why. But there's a tribe wherein young boys are supposed to basically give fellatio or suck off, as if you will, older men in the tribe to absorb their semen. If I remember this
I
correctly.
believe that tribe are called the Greeks.
Okay, well, although they did practice pederasty, that's not what I'm talking about. So, I mean, the thing is, obviously, if you ask them, is it immoral, this act, they're going to say no. This is an officially recognized act, and they probably will not even say within our culture. That's a very Western, politically correct thing to say, to go, well, it's a good thing in our culture. Now, the thing is, so a lot of people would not put that little predication on the end in the Western culture because we can also be notoriously unpolitically correct. But the point is that in this other culture across the world, it's all right. And I mean, I'm not going to say that moral relativism is right either, but I want a caller, to perhaps set me straight, because the guy who just called, although I understand what he's saying, I mean, I get his notion, but still, the existence in the Bible of a certain interpretation that says, or no, the existence on the outside of the Bible of an interpretation of the Bible is not enough to convince me that the Bible is saying masturbation or certain types of sexuality are a sin. Okay, so try to convince me.
Well, let's see let's see how this person's going to convince you.
Technical
Hello, caller.
Hi. Yeah, I had an idea about setting up a website where I would get a person who's pregnant early in their pregnancy, and they were in a lot of financial difficulties. And on the website, there would be an ultimatum about raising an X certain amount of money. And the whole objective here would be to raise enough money so that this child whose mother doesn't have enough money to support it appropriately could raise enough money through the website. And I feel like a lot of the Republicans who are pro-life and against abortion, I feel like this would
would be an opportunity for them to put their money where their morals are.
That's
Put your money where your morals is. That's more clever than anything he's ever said in his whole life. But yes, it's very expensive to raise a child, even if you're just going to give it up for adoption. You have to pay for the emergency room.
Goat is just, by the way,
And millions of people are not covered by health insurance.
by the way, the only reason
you have a good point.
The
there.
only reason Goat said that is because I gave him a demotion.
A demotion?
A demotion, yes.
What am I being demoted to?
Secretary.
Secretary?
Because honestly, my witticisms are beyond those of Burroughs. Okay. What he said is very interesting. So if you would like to do that, I would be most impressed. Call us back at a later time after you've established some facts about it. See if some Republicans are willing to make pledges. I'd be very interested to know how that works out.
I don't know.
In case you didn't hear, this young man was saying that he wanted to make a website wherein the story and the progress of a woman who was pregnant but didn't have enough money to support her baby would have the baby if enough money were pledged by frequenters of the website.
Well, let's see.
Very interesting.
Let's see what this caller has to say. Hello, caller.
Yeah, hey, what high school did y'all go to?
I went to Hayfield.
And I went to some obscure high school in Stafford County, which is an obscure county.
All right.
Hardly. It's right off 95, man. Come on.
All right. So you've seen a sign. You know everything about it.
No, I've been through Stafford.
Well, whatever. What do you have to say?
Stafford is whore county, man. Okay, go ahead.
Y'all go now.
What?
Where you go to college? Y'all go to college?
We both go to VCU.
Yeah.
All right. You like it?
It's all right.
Cool.
Where do you go?
I go to Elon.
Oh, okay, good. How do you like it? What's your major?
Sociology.
Sociology?
Yeah.
Good. So what interests you about this show? Have you seen it before?
Nah. I just put to a thought call in.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that. We're talking about sexuality today. What do you think about human sexuality?
What basis?
Well, I mean, we've been talking about it quite a few issues. It's really kind of splatter, but specifically, how do you think that the consumption of alcohol and perhaps the use of other substances can affect people's sexuality?
Well, I mean, it obviously increases it when people get drunk. That's what they do is they have sex.
Well, apart from that type, we're talking about sexual orientation specifically.
I don't know. What do you mean? Like, get more? Like, you think it increases homosexuality?
Well, we're just asking what you think.
I don't know.
I mean, have you ever been to a party, say, where you had, some girl, a friend that was a girl, and she said she's always claiming that she's heterosexual or something like this, and then during the party she starts making out with a girl. I mean, do you think that's a reflection of bisexuality or just?
Well, I mean, it's different for girls. Like, girls will make out with each other, but they won't be like bisexual or anything. They just.
But so you're saying if two girls make out with each other, it does not necessarily indicate bisexuality, but if two men make out with each other, it's definitely bisexuality?
I'd have to say so.
Okay, that's a very interesting view. And that's a common view in this culture, too.
Yeah, especially like our first caller was very strongly against homosexuality when I brought up two women.
Yeah, he withdrew. I mean, and that's very common. That is the man porn mentality.
I mean, like, either way, it's still wrong.
Oh, okay, you think it's wrong? And why do you think it's wrong?
Just because, it doesn't work. I mean, think about it. Like, you can't, two penises don't work, two vaginas don't work.
Well, let's suppose that the purpose of sex is not just reproduction, but partly it's for pleasure. Then would it work?
I mean, of course you can get pleasure out of it, but I still think it's morally wrong.
Okay, I mean, do you think that's for religious reasons or just for pragmatic reasons? What?
Yeah, for religious reasons.
Okay. So are you Christian?
Yes, I am.
What denomination?
Yeah, Catholicism.
What's that?
Catholicism.
Okay. Well, that's a very interesting view. Go. What do you practice again?
Nothing.
Liar. I saw you outside the. Man, this is ridiculous.
I don't have a religion. You know how you see Jackson Pollock paintings?
Yeah.
Jackson Pollock is abstract expressionism. His paintings don't make any sense. That's how I view Christianity.
Okay.
Pollock
is actually a very interesting person, but like Christianity, he had a big beer belly before he died. in a car accident with 2 women, 1 surviving. Terrible, terrible tragedy it was. But his paintings were even more of a tragedy, even though they're very famous among the New York art crowd.
All right, let's just see what this caller has to say.
All right.
Hello, caller. You're on Technicolor Freedom Machine.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? First woman speaker tonight, right?
Yeah, I think
Good.
so. What are you wearing?
Good, come on. This is all your sexual activity for the week.
Exactly. Now I wanted to get a girl's perspective on here.
You what?
Get a girl's perspective on here.
Yeah, we'd like one. Yeah, have it.
Okay, well, I wanted to say that I do believe that alcohol and other substances definitely does affect your sexuality.
So you think that alcohol can affect people's sexuality?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, in what ways?
Okay, for example, we had a party here, and a friend brought a girl who was, or I guess claimed to be a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
And, huh?
Can you invite me to your next parties then?
Sure. But we also had, say, 3 or 4 other girls here that claimed to be straight.
Okay.
And after the party went on and everybody was highly intoxicated, it became basically a mass orgy with everybody making out with everybody else.
Wow.
So these girls who claimed to be straight, it was okay to make out with another girl.
Are you by any chance calling from the Playboy Mansion? No. All right, well...
Not. But I just think it does have an effect on it. A lot of people are, well, I mean, they always say it definitely lowers your inhibitions, and there's people who turn around the next day and go back to leading these straight lives. They're having boyfriends and whatnot.
Sure, sure. So what do you think about that morally? I mean, you said that you have a friend who was claiming to be, or you had a friend who brought another friend who was a lesbian or was claiming to be one, and then there were all these straight girls at the party, and then by the end of the night, after everyone was drunk, there was sort of a mass orgy.
I don't necessarily have a problem with it. It got to be kind of annoying.
It got to be annoying?
Yeah, just because...
Well, would you have found it annoying if it were a completely heterosexual orgy?
Yeah, probably, because they all just kind of stayed. It was getting late. That was mostly the reason. But no, I mean, I don't specifically find a problem in it in the fact that she was lesbian and she made out with another girl, or may have found a girlfriend, or whatever the case may be.
Sure, sure. Okay, so it was basically that you were just annoyed by the presence of people overstaying their welcome and not the sexuality itself.
Pretty much.
Okay, okay. Well, that's a very, very interesting view.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for calling. We appreciate your perspective. Thank you.
Well, there you go. Finally, a girl's perspective. But
Yeah, thank you, thank you. We'd like actually some more female callers into this show because...
and I am going to call you back about those crazy parties. They sound very interesting.
Yeah, invite us. You know, Technicolor Freedom Machine makes every party a rainbow. Ugh.
Let's see what this
I think this is going to be probably...
what this caller has to say.
All right.
first.
Hey, sweet shorty.
What's that?
Sweet shorty. I like color.
You like color?
I like the color you got going there. It's nice.
Color?
Thanks. I am a nice shade of olive, but yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
I wasn't talking about you, dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ouch, ouch,
Hey.
ouch. And go becomes a scarecrow.
Hey, both of you need to get a haircut, though.
Which one? We both need haircuts.
Yeah, that's what, both, actually. I'll
Okay.
say both.
Yeah, you know anybody who cuts hair?
Actually, there's barbershops all over the whole fucking city.
All right, I'll go to one of those.
All right, all right.
Let's see what this caller has to say.
Yeah, caller, you're on Technicolor Freedom Machine.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think that that kind of behavior is an abomination.
What kind of behavior?
The behavior with other women, making out with other women.
So you
I've
s-
never heard of such foolishness. I mean,
Such foolishness! Like you can't even see that on an average table.
Wait.
Women making out.
Wait, who is this? Are you calling from Richmond?
yes, I am.
Okay, okay, interesting. So you think it's an abomination if 2 women are making out or generally being intimate with each
Right.
other?
I mean, if you're going to make out, find a man and woman to make out with, or vice versa, woman and man. I mean, there's just no point. It's just I don't want to get into the details here, but it's just no point. It's just making any sense.
Okay, well, is it okay for a man to be in love with Jesus Christ?
That's totally different, sir.
It's different. Okay.
Thank you for your output. All right.
Thank you.
Line 1, it's the same girl calling us back. All
I
right.
think it was Amy.
Hello, caller. You're back on the air.
Yeah, thank you for calling Technicolor Freedom Machine.
Hi, I was wondering if my brother makes me do things to him, does that make me gay?
Oh, God. If you're being truthful,
You're not gay if it's rape.
if it's rape, you need to call a hotline. Honestly, either that or call 911 because we don't want rapes or sexual violations that are against your will occurring. That's really not cool.
And a little heads up, we do have caller ID, so if you call back from the same number twice, we know it's a fake call.
Yeah, please. Honestly, it's not very funny to joke about these things because there are people who really are suffering under these kinds of. Thank you very much. There are certain people who really are suffering under, these kind of barrages of sexual coercion. It's really not a good thing. If you know anybody who is being sexually coerced or who's being raped, you need to call Child Protective Services or the appropriate organization to have it taken care of. I know it's not an easy process, but you have a responsibility to the survival of that child or the survival of that person, not just in life, but in emotion, because you can have terrible problems after this. You do not want to be coerced sexually, so please do what it takes to help this person out.
All right, let's see what this caller has to say. Hello, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, do you guys believe in God?
Do you believe in God?
I'm kind of a
Yes, I
flip.
do.
You do?
I'm a flip-flop on that, and I know you're one of those crazy Jews.
Well, yes, I come from a Jewish background. My views on God are rather complex, so I would not go into it here, but if you're interested, you can get a sort of semi-understanding of what I think if you read the philosopher Spinoza.
You're bullshit. You're going to hell.
Actually, you know what? Hell is a remarkably Christian concept, which was preceded by the Hebraic concept of Sheol, which was not necessarily a negative place, but a very sort of profound place, not necessarily negative nor positive. So I would urge you to kind of rebase your understandings of what even hell might be. It's certainly a fun concept to want to banish people to hell for not doing things the way you would like them to be done, but morality does not pivot on the person. It pivots on the whole world or the whole universe, ideally anyway. So if you can give me a universal theory of morality, I will be impressed.
Alex, you're so cute when you're angry. Hello, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex.
Yes.
How you doing?
How are you? Who's this?
This is John Radhouse from Omaha, Nebraska.
I don't think we get calls from Nebraska, but okay.
Is it okay if I call?
Yeah, but wait.
I mean,
Wait, who is this?
you're calling from a 562 number. I'm guessing that's Omaha, Nebraska?
Yes, sir.
How is that possible?
I might have to Google search your phone number.
All right, go ahead. Did he hang up?
Is that
Hello?
Is that it? Well,
Come on.
yeah. I don't know. I didn't know we got all the way out to Nebraska.
It must have been that tornado was from last week. It sort of like brought all the Technicolor Freedom Machine frequencies and brought them to just kind of like shat them out in the middle of Nebraska. Well, I'm glad you got them.
All right, let's see what this caller has to say.
Hello,
Hello,
call back. I want to know what you have to say.
Hey, did you guys get beat up a lot in high school?
No, I'm actually 6'3". No one really. Yeah, thanks.
You know, it sounds.
Cussing on the air is really cool now. I mean, Robert Novak does it. Go ahead, be cool. Cuss on the air.
Caller who just called, I would like you to turn yourself in.
No, we're not even going to dignify the man with a response.
That guy needs to turn himself into the local zoo. I think you do well. Thank you. 1 minute. 1 minute left.
All right, we're going to take one last call before we go.
Yeah, we have about 1 minute left on the air, people.
All right. Hopefully this caller is serious.
Technicolor Freedom Machine, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, you're entitled to your opinion, but what's wrong with Robert Novak?
Oh, it's just that he cussed on the air of CNN.
You have a problem with Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity?
I mean, I'm not going to bring it into political discussion here, but cussing on the air is not a cool thing to do.
I didn't mean to offend you earlier. I see I offended the gentleman toward the right. I didn't mean to offend you. I was just stating my...
Oh, no. You didn't offend me at all. It was fine.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to have to wrap things up, but thanks for your call.
30 seconds left on the air. I want to remind you, please tune in next week, same time, same day, Thursday at 6 o'clock. The third episode for the second season of this show, Technicolor Freedom Machine, will be airing. We should have more people, and we'll have a lot more fun things to show. We'll have some great topics, and additionally, we should have some pre-recorded videotape some skits that we're going to be performing. So please tune in. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Also, if you would like to email me, it's askgoad@hotmail.com. That's ASKGOAD@hotmail.com.
703-380-3356. 703-380-3356.